What damper setting should you select? This is a really good question to ask yourself whether you're training at a gym or you've got a competition coming up, or maybe you're a rower itself, because this is going to be the most important thing when it comes to you getting efficient, long strokes and getting the best out of your workouts. So firstly, what is the damper? On the side of a Concept2 machine, you have a thing called the flywheel, which is this here. Every time you take a stroke, the flywheel is going to spin. Now the damper is this nozzle right here. This is allowing airflow to come in and out of the machine. Higher the damper setting, the more airflow is allowed into the flywheel. What this means is that it's gonna feel like it's a higher resistance because there's more air to push out every time you take a stroke. It also means that the flywheel is gonna slow down even faster because there's more air slowing it down between each stroke as well. The lower the damper setting, the less air is gonna be coming into the actual flywheel. This means that after you take a stroke, it's gonna continue to spin, so when you come back to the catch, it's already going pretty quick and you can simply continue to row through. So the question is, where should I sit? Before I jump into this one, it's very important to note that drag factor is the actual metric you want to be aiming for. This is because as much as the damper setting allows the air into the machine, there are other variables which come into play, such as humidity, temperature, if there's any lint in the machine. This may slow down the flywheel itself irrespective of where the damper sits on the machine. A lot of rowers will jump on and check the drag factor first because a 5 on this machine may be the same as a 3 on another machine. The drag factor is going to be your source of truth. So that being said, where should I put my damper? Now for most people, between a 3 and a 5 is where you want to sit on the Concept2. This allows you to get efficient strokes, enough power into the machine, and also it makes it feel like you're in an actual boat itself. There are very few times you want to put this to a 10. That is a big misconception with a lot of people. They put it all the way up to a 10 and it's going to feel quite heavy on each stroke. Your technique can often fall down at that point as well. And more importantly, it's just not efficient. Some coaches may go a little bit higher, 6 to an 8 as an example, because they feel that this is best for them. Now this is where some personalization comes into it. There is no correct number to put the damper on. It is going to change from athlete to athlete. So someone may feel comfortable at a damper at a 5, for example. Someone may be more comfortable at a 3. It's going to depend personally on where you feel most comfortable and where you can get the best bang for buck on the rowing machine itself. Now, it's also really important to note that this is not resistance. Resistance always comes from the user itself. Now, no matter where the damper is, the user always dictates the power that's coming from each of the strokes. This means that no matter where it sits in that machine, it's always going to come down to the person who's on the rower itself. Now, it also means that you can work as hard as you want or as light as you want, irrespective of where the damper setting sits. Now, it's not just the athlete, but also the length of activity may come into play here. If it's a stronger athlete who's going for more of a sprint, they may want to select a higher damper setting for that particular workout. If it's for someone who's trying to get into a bit of a rhythm and make it feel like a normal race and have a slower stroke rate, they may want to go a little bit lower on the damper setting to really reflect how you'd feel in a boat. Now, a great place to start between a 3 to 5 is a safe place to go. It also means that it's going to allow you to have really efficient strokes each and every time. But again, the most important part, this one, is play around with it a little bit, see what you're comfortable with, check the drag factor, and then you'll be able to more effectively choose what is best for you. In order to find drag factor on the monitor, you'd hit menu, more options, display drag factor. And as you can see here, as I stroke through, it's going to give me a different drag factor. This is going to be your source of truth. As I move the flywheel up, you can see that drag factor start to lift. As I come back down, you'll see that drag factor go low. Most rowers want to sit somewhere between a 110 to a 130, just depending on what they're comfortable with. But again, this comes down to personal preference. So I hope that helps in order to define a little bit more about what the damper is and how it affects the machine, and also for you to choose the most effective setting for you to get the most out of your workout each and every time. Feel free to share, guys, and enjoy your workout.